When your own parents look you in the eye and say the world would be better off without you, something inside you breaks. That night, I sat at the dinner table staring at the half-eaten meal while their words echoed in my head. My mom's voice was cold, my dad's eyes sharp with disappointment. All I'd done was tell them I'd quit the job they'd forced me into, a job I hated, one that drained every ounce of life out of me. But to them, I wasn't just a failure. 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 I wanted to ask about this. I'd spent years trying to make them proud. Every decision, every step I took, I measured against their expectations. But nothing was ever enough. My sister got married early, bought a house, had kids. She was their golden child. Me? I was the one they whispered about when relatives came over. The ungrateful son who never listened. That night, after they threw their words like knives, I went to my room and sat in the dark. My hands trembled, not with sadness, but with something deeper, resolve. They thought I was weak because I didn't follow their path. They thought I had no direction. But what they didn't know was that I'd been quietly building something on my own, something real. For months, I'd been working nights on a small startup idea, coding through exhaustion, skipping meals, surviving on coffee and hope. I didn't tell anyone because I knew they'd mock it, just like they mocked every dream that didn't come with a salary slip. As the clock hit midnight, I made a silent promise. I wouldn't waste another second trying to earn love that came with conditions. If my parents couldn't see my worth, I'd build something so undeniable they'd have no choice but to look. I didn't cry that night. I just started planning. Because if this family really thought they'd be better off without me, I was going to show them exactly what life looked like when I was gone, and what they lost when they pushed me away. The next morning, I packed a small bag, left a note on the kitchen counter, and walked out without looking back. I didn't slam the door, didn't say a word, just left in silence. They wanted a house without me? Fine. They'd get exactly that. For weeks, I slept on a friend's couch in the city. My savings were running out, but my determination wasn't. Every morning, while my parents sat comfortably in the home I helped pay for, I woke up at 5 a.m., grabbed a cheap cup of coffee, and went back to coding. My project, something they once called a stupid dream, was slowly turning into a real product. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. There were nights when doubt crept in. The city was loud, cruel, and lonely. I'd scroll through my phone and see family pictures my sister posted, holidays, birthdays, smiles I wasn't part of anymore. For a while, it stung. But then I remembered the look on my father's face when he said I was useless, and the sting turned to fuel. Months passed. My startup, an online freelance platform for remote workers, started gaining traction. Small clients turned into steady contracts. Then one day, a big investor noticed the project. A video I posted explaining my idea went viral, and within a week, I was in meetings I once only dreamed of. The same hands that used to tremble over my keyboard were now signing my first investment deal. I didn't tell my parents. Not yet. They'd made it clear I wasn't part of the family anymore, so I stayed quiet. I moved into a small apartment of my own and worked harder than I ever had in my life. My company began growing faster than I could keep up with. I hired a small team people like me overlooked, underestimated, and tired of being told they'd never amount to anything. Together, we built something solid. Then one night, my phone buzzed. It was my sister. I hadn't spoken to her in almost a year. "Mom's sick," she texted. "You should come home." For a moment, everything stopped. My heart pounded. I'd told myself I was done with them, that I didn't owe them anything. But family isn't easy to turn off, no matter how deep the wounds go. So I went. When I walked into the hospital room, Mom looked smaller, weaker. Dad sat beside her, eyes red and tired. The silence was thick. No one said anything for a long time. Then Dad finally muttered, "You shouldn't have come." I almost laughed. Even now, even here, he couldn't let go of his pride. But I stayed calm. I'm not here for you, I said. I'm here because I needed to make peace for myself. They looked at each other, unsure how to respond. I didn't tell them about the company, the success, or the life I'd built. I didn't owe them that satisfaction. I simply told them I forgave them, not because they deserved it, but because I was tired of carrying the weight of their disappointment. When I left that hospital, something inside me shifted. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. It meant freedom. And I was finally free. A few months later, I got an invitation to a local business conference. My company had been nominated for Startup of the Year. When I walked on stage to accept the award, flashlights flickered, cameras clicked, and I could almost hear my father's voice in my head saying, "This family would have been better off without you." He was wrong. I wasn't better off without them. I was stronger. 2 days later, my sister called again. This time, her voice was different. "Dad wants to talk to you," she said quietly. "He saw your interview on TV." I didn't know how to feel. Part of me wanted to ignore the call. Another part, the small human part, still wanted to be heard. I agreed to visit. When I pulled up to their house, everything looked the same. The same curtains, same porch light, same cold air of superiority. But this time, I was different. Dad opened the door, hesitant. Mom was sitting on the couch, watching me like I was a ghost. Finally, Dad spoke. "We were wrong," he said. "About you. About everything." For a long moment, I didn't speak. I just looked around. The walls where I once felt so small now looked smaller themselves. "I know," I said. "But you don't get to decide my worth anymore." He nodded slowly, tears welling in his eyes. "I just wanted you to know, we're proud." It should have felt good to hear that. But instead, it just felt late. That night, as I drove away, city lights glinting on the windshield, I realized something powerful. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't anger. It's success, silence, and peace. And for the first time in my life, I finally had all three. Months later, I got a letter from my mom. Just a few lines, shaky handwriting. "We're sorry. We didn't understand you. You proved us wrong." I read it once, folded it carefully, and placed it in a drawer. No anger, no tears, just closure. I didn't visit again. I didn't need to. My life had already moved far beyond the walls that once made me feel small. The company grew, I built real friendships, and for the first time I felt peace that didn't depend on anyone's approval. It said the family would be better off without me. Turns out I was better off without their limits. If this story hit home, remember, sometimes the people who doubt you the most are the ones who fear your potential. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone who can't see it. Just keep building quietly until your success speaks so loudly that even those who dismissed you are forced to listen. Don't chase validation. Chase growth, peace, and purpose, and let them realize what they lost when they underestimated you.